بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So the maxim tonight is a new maxim that is related to many aspects: transactions, clothing, ibadat. And the maxim states that سماع قول ذي اليد, listening means believing, trusting, believing to whomever is in control. ذو اليد, the person of the hand, the person who puts his hand on this property, on this item, okay, on this object. So whenever there is a doubt about something, we listen to what he says, meaning we believe what he says. So who runs this institution? Let's say such and such, Fulan. If we want to inquire about this institution, let's say I go to a place and I don't know the Qibla, I have doubt about the Qibla. And then the owner comes, or someone who's in charge. Dhul Yad means the one who's in charge. Dhul Yad, the one who's in control, the one who has the hand over that thing. So I ask that person. And once he tells me, then I listen to him. I assume that he's telling me the truth because he is in charge. He's in charge. This is one example. One example. You go to a place, where is the Qibla? This is a new village, a new destination. Someone, he owns the land. He's in charge. He's in control of that building, that institution, that land, that place. He says, this is the Qibla, this direction. Okay? Or he tells you things about it, that this is ghasb, this land is ghasb, let's say. So we believe him. Or this land is okay, you can pray here. So this is basically the meaning. The meaning, it means the qawl of such a person who's in charge has hujjiyah, validity. Hujjiyah. Valid. We accept what he says. We accept what he says. Or sometimes it's not about, you ask about a dress. Is this a dress? Is this carpet? Is this desk? Is this table? Is this chair? Is it clean, tahir or najis? So the one who's in control, when he tells you, you take his word for it. Okay? If he says, no, this is najis, then you treat that as najis because he's the one who's in control. He knows. Ahlul Bayt adra bima fil bayt. The inhabitants of the house, they know better than others what goes on in that house. This is a proverb, Arabic proverb, that the person of this village, the person of this country, the person of this family, this tribe, this association, he knows better than others because he's an insider. So you have to take his word on that. Do you want to ask something?
No.
Hujjiyah. So we give credibility to it. ثقة كان أم ضعيفا. Whether that person is trustworthy or not trustworthy. He has the say. Musliman كان أم كافرا. Whether that person is a believer in God or non-believer in God. Because he knows. This has nothing to do with someone believes in God. This is information. So the correct information could be with someone who doesn't believe in God. Does he have to be a believer in God to have the correct information? Now, this qaida, this maxim takes precedence over istishab, the principle of continuity. What does the principle of continuity state? Do you remember from old days when we started the seminary? We studied these principles. أصل البراءة, أصل الاحتياط. And then we studied the principle of istishab, continuity. What does it state? What's the gist of it?
Sort of whatever you left off on something, you take it from there.
Exactly. When you come back and you have a doubt whether things have changed or not, you say no. No, they have not changed, so I continue with what it had been in the past, with the same status of the past, unless there is a new, fresh information that says, no, this house was sold. This wife was divorced. This son died. Okay? If there is no fresh information, then we stick with the old information. This is istishab. Now, what does it mean to say that this maxim takes precedence over continuity or overrides the principle of continuity? What does...
I was going to ask that question. I'm a little confused. Why is this plays a factor here?
Yeah.
Well, maybe this one is more detailed on what's happening now.
Exactly, because this is a fresh information.
Yeah.
You left the dress here last night.
Yeah.
Okay? There was a dress. You left it last night, last week, last month. It used to be not pure, not clean. Then you came, the owner of the house and the dress, he's telling you that this towel, which was not clean, now it's clean. So you take his word for it. You don't go...
But then you have... So then istishab doesn't even apply because now you have ilm.
No, when you have doubt. Istishab applies when you have doubt.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the fact that he told you now
Yeah.
you have ilm.
But this is not ilm qat'iha.
Yeah.
He could
It could be wrong.
wrong, okay? But you take it from him as a fresh knowledge and you act upon that. Is this obvious? Is this clear to you? So the one who is in charge, Sahibul Yad, when he says that this item is clean, this item is not clean, this is contaminated water, okay? Then we take his word for it because he's Sahibul Yad.
So same question. So if you're in someone's house and you're going to do a prayer and you ask the kid, assuming bulu, right?
We will come to this. We will come. Believe me. This is in the next page. Can we accept that from the child? They say no. Unless he reached the age of maturity, which is 14, 15, 13, 14, 15. If he has reached that age, you may accept his statement too. So it becomes like adult. But a child, you cannot depend on that. Okay? Now, as an example of this maxim, I was asked, I had a case some time ago. People came to me for divorce. Let's see whether this case applies to this maxim applies to this case or not. They came for divorce. The wife was asking for divorce. Why do you want to divorce this man? She says, this man is impotent. He's impotent. He's dysfunctional. He's not a man. We asked the man, are you impotent? He says, no, Sayyid, I'm not impotent. She's a liar. So in this case, if we want to apply this maxim, how do we apply it? Who do we believe?
The man.
The man. Why?
He's the owner. He's the
The owner of that.
Is there something? Is there something?
Exactly. He's the owner of his body. He knows about himself, his body, his health. So if he says, I am not, and there is no way, of course, there is no way to examine, then why? Why it makes a difference? It makes a difference Because if the wife is asking for divorce based on the impotency of the husband, then her mahar is not waived. He has to pay her the mahar. Because the mistake, the wrong is with him, not her. But if he was okay, and she's just asking, lying, for instance, her statement is not true, then in that case she has to waive her dowry. That divorce becomes khul', not raj'i, khul'. Whenever a wife asks for divorce based on dissatisfaction, not because the husband is deficient. No, the husband is not deficient. He's doing his job. He's healthy, he's working, he's spending money, he's staying the night with her, he's doing. But she doesn't like him. She doesn't like him. Then she has to waive her mahar, forgoes her mahar. She's not entitled for the mahar. She can get divorce, but she does not get the mahar. Whereas if the husband is deficient, he is deficient. I want to live with him, but life is impossible. Like impotence. I can't. I'm young and I want relationship. In that case, she can get her mahar because he's. So here we listen to him because he's the one. This is his body. Now another example. If someone marries a lady expecting that she is, Dr. Ali loves these examples. Expecting that she's virgin. But then, after, they are together, he finds out, or he comes and he claims. He comes to the judge and he says, we married, we were, my expectation, she's virgin, she's not married before. But now she's not. But she says, no, I'm virgin. So who do we accept based on this maxim?
Again, her.
They're married.
They married and he expected that she has to be virgin.
But there's two different controls now. She has control over her body and he has control over the marriage to some extent.
Why he has control over the marriage? Why do you assume he has control over the
I
marriage?
have a microphone for you.
So I say we listen to her.
Yeah,
body.
we listen to her. Because she's speaking about her body.
Right.
He is speaking about her body. She is speaking about her body. So she's closer to her body than him. She has control over. The yad, the hand, is for her, not for him. She knows about her body. Unless he can bring bayin, which is proof. But if there is no proof, then she's speaking, we assume that she's telling us the truth. Because this is her body. She's not talking about something else.
What about if she's lying?
How do we know? How do we know she's lying? Let's say we cannot test. Or it is too late because they consummated the marriage the first night. So now she's not virgin. How do we know that before she consummated the marriage, she was virgin or not virgin? We have no way of knowing that. It's too late now. So even forensic evidence would not help, let's say. How do we know? She's saying, I'm telling you the truth. He says, I'm telling you the truth. But we have no way of verifying. So we use these maxims. If we have a way of verifying who's telling the truth, who's not, then we use that one. But when you don't have, then you use these maxims. You apply.
Did you ask them to do a qasam, like what we talked about before in some of the other maxims? Do they have to do a qasam?
Sometimes the qasam is the second step, not the first step. The second step.
So you assume she's right?
Yes, we assume because this maxim takes precedence. The body is her body. Unless we suspect she lied in the past, or some people say she's not, then this is qarina. Qarina means indication that her statement is not right because this is her habit. She lies. She's known in the community, in the family to be a liar. Then this gives us qarina. But if there is no qarina, we assume that she's telling us the truth.
Say this is whether the person is trustworthy or not. So even if she's not trustworthy, whether she's a liar, we still have to believe her,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Exactly. Muslim or non-Muslim.
Yeah.
Being Muslim or non-Muslim.
Yeah.
Again, he married a non-Muslim and she says, no, I was virgin. So we believe her, even she was a non-Muslim. Now, another question maybe has nothing to do with this, but also we faced this situation some time ago. Someone married someone else in America, in this country. But they never spoke about virginity. They never discussed this. They discussed everything except this. Now that he married her, he realizes she's not virgin. And then they have a problem here. So here, does the marriage differ in America than Islamic countries? We can say in Muslim societies, you automatically assume the wife is what?
The
Virgin. Unless you know she's a widow, she's a divorcee, she's, But if not, she's a girl living in her parents' house. So automatically you assume that she should be virgin. Does that rule apply to the marriage here also? You assume because she's a girl living in her parents' house.
The orf is different here.
The urf is different. So the customs are different here, the norms. So they expect her to be not. This is not something shocking. Even in Muslim communities, Muslim families?
Well, I mean, Muslim communities count them as if you're overseas almost. So there's like, we can't say it's so Muslim.
It's hit and miss, it's like 50-50.
Mm.
But,
But don't you treat the maxim the same, say? So
No.
If there's you don't?
No. She tells him, she confess. This is in case that this is in case they are conflicting. In the scenario that I mentioned, no, she said no, but he should know that I'm not. Why did he expect me to be? Exactly.
yeah.
Why do you expect me to be a virgin? I live in America. So I'm just like my friends, my colleagues, my cousins, my classmates.
Right.
So this is the proof that the orf actually has entered that community, if this is her assumption.
Yes, exactly.
That's the normal.
Because she lives in a different country, born and raised in different country. So in this case, can he sue her for doing tadlis? Do you know tadlis?
You can't sue her.
Tadlis. Tadlis is what? Deceiving. Tadlis means deceiving. That you said the husband is doing tadlis. That I am potent, and then he becomes impotent, for instance. Or she does. I am virgin, and then she turns to be not. Okay. Or they have a disease in them. They don't disclose it
Right.
to others before marriage. Then they discover, wow. Or he's sentenced to life sentence. He has to go to jail, in 2 months from now. 30 years, 40, but he didn't tell them, for instance. Things like that are called deceiving, tadlis. And it has sometimes it would void the marriage. The marriage was not right. Because it was based on fraudulent assumptions. So here the difference. Sometimes people say, so what's the difference? No, here he can sue her for doing tadlis. But you didn't tell me. Can he do that? This is the problem.
No.
In this society he cannot.
Well, that's
Because he assumes that even a Muslim girl, because this is what we face, believe me. Even a Muslim girl in a Muslim family, we can't expect her to be virgin.
Based on the orf, the orf establishing that that's not the case, then
But the
He
urf,
should have asked, he should have confirmed.
but the Muslims do not have a special norms here. They don't. Their norms are American norms, like the rest of the society.
No, I think they shouldn't be like the rest of them. Like there's some places, for instance, in certain communities where it's, you know, like in Michigan, for instance, it's the norm is to like overseas, you know. I mean, that's what your expectation. I don't know now. Maybe there's a transition, more assimilation going on, you know, in the first generation or second. But
I thought we've talked about before, we can't assume, because we're here, we can't assume the same is going on there as here. You can't assume that people
But
are.
is this assimilation taking place 100%? Or still there are 100%? You mean a Muslim family exactly is like a non-Muslim family?
No, I wouldn't say exactly.
Same
but-
values, same norms, same customs?
No.
You know,
I think
can a girl in a Muslim bring her boyfriend to her bedroom and her parents are sitting?
not in general,
Still,
no.
you
Not
know.
in general, but you do see it
But
in
it
the Muslim
happens.
community.
Hmm?
Yeah, you see it in the Muslim.
It can happen, but like
It happens
like,
occasionally, but is it the norm? I'm asking,
It's
is
not
it the norm?
It's not the
So
norm.
the norm is important. Exceptions, we don't count exceptions. Exceptional cases, we don't count them. We take the norm. What is the norm in the society? What is the majority of the people think?
But Sid, I guess the question I'm asking is the norm of the, because we're subpopulating, right? So is it the norm, what you described, is that the norm of the American society? The answer would probably be yes. But is it
Yes.
the norm of the Muslim American?
This is my question, the second one. Because here the judge is judging between two Muslim families who live in America. Is he like the American judge in the court? If he is an American judge in the court, he has different norms. But this is a Muslim family that has Muslim traditions and customs. So it's hard to say, no, we shouldn't assume that girls here are virgin at the time of marriage. We should assume they are not virgin, and that is normal. This is difficult to state that. Now, maybe 10 years, 20 years, what will happen? It's different. Okay. So
say just one question. So that same example you gave, that's in an Islamic country. So he didn't ask, she didn't say. So she didn't deceive. She
So-
didn't do it at least.
so the
he can
norm,
sue her?
yeah, because the norm there, because she's not divorcee, she's not a divorcee, she's not a widow. So she should be virgin. So you don't go and ask, you assume that she's virgin, unless stated otherwise. So if it is not stated otherwise, then she's virgin. So if he discovers she's not virgin, then he can sue her, of course.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what is the madrak for this? Maxim? Yeah, yeah,
Does this maxim apply to restaurants also?
it does. It does, but where does it apply? Does it apply in Suq al-Muslimin or non-Suq al-Muslimin?
No, let's say in airline.
It's not Suq al-Muslimin. This
Exactly.
is not an Islamic market. In an Islamic market, it applies. You don't have to ask.
Right.
You don't even have to ask. You go into a restaurant, you don't ask him about the meat, about the chicken, you eat in a Muslim country. Or a Muslim majority, let's say, not just all, majority. Like Malaysia, not, I think, 50 some percent, but there you eat Islamic. But here, it doesn't apply. Here you have to verify. Because it's a non-market, non-Islamic market,
Yes,
you have to
my question.
verify.
You ask the guy,
Yeah.
is your meat halal? And he says yes, but he's not Muslim. Or you don't know if he's Muslim or not.
Exactly. We will come to tafsir class next. That a person can be truthful and trustworthy even if he's non-Muslim. Even if he's non-Muslim. He doesn't have to be Muslim to be trustworthy. Sometimes he's not Muslim. He's not a practicing, but he's trustworthy. He doesn't lie. And this happens in this life. So if you know he's trustworthy, even if he's not a Muslim.
No, I don't know. I just walk in a restaurant. I don't know the guy.
So if you don't know, this is a problem. If the owner here in non-Islamic market, if the owner of the restaurant is Muslim, number one, and he says it's halal, you take his word for it.
Yes, actually my question is if I don't know if he's Muslim or not.
The owner,
The owner.
you ask. You ask. Or if there is indication, sometimes you don't, it's not politically correct to ask, but there are indications, what he's wearing, the...
He put certificates sometimes on the window too.
No, certificate solve the problem, but sometimes there is no certificate.
Selling alcohols.
Sometimes it is halal and they sell alcohol. I know some restaurants, they really truly serve halal. He says halal for the Muslims and alcohol for the Americans. I have business and, you know. So they do. I've seen this. But there are alamat, indications, let's say, that the owner is Muslim. Sometimes indication the owner is a Buddhist, is a Hindu. You see from some statues that they put some portraits on the wall. Sometimes it tells you no, you don't have to ask, but you know this is what usually the Muslims put on their wall.
Let's say the guy's name is Farzad.
No, Farzat is not an
Syrian,
Islamic.
could
No,
be
no,
Muslim,
no, no,
could
of
be
course.
Jew.
No, no, this is not an indication. No. Qulum Ali is. Qulum Ali, it means he's, you know.
Actually, even I've seen Hashim.
But-
Hashim was Jewish.
Hashim in Lebanon, it's a Christian name too. There are some families in Lebanon, Hashim, Beit Hashim. They are Shias and they are Christians too.
Right.
So Sayyid, I'm a little confused because why, so we just said that in this maxim, whether he's trustworthy, not trustworthy, Muslim, not Muslim, you take his word.
Mm.
But you just said if the owner is not Muslim, then you have to check.
We differentiate between Islamic market and non-Islamic market.
Even for the spy?
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
ah.
Yeah, these maxims, they set for Muslim countries, not as minorities living outside.
I see.
Some of them could apply to our case, they could apply, but these maxims that we study, they apply for Muslim societies. Muslim societies. So even in a Muslim society, if the one who controls is non-Muslim, you may accept him. You may accept what he says.
In a Muslim society.
Yeah. But remember, sometimes one qa'idah, one maxim takes over another maxim. It's above another, overrides above, stronger than the other. So this one could be overridden by another qa'idah that says when it comes to the meat, you have to make sure.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to the meat. Another maxim. Now, the madrak for this is صحيحة أبي بصير عن الصادق. صحيحة أبي بصير عن الإمام الصادق. عن أبي عبد الله الصادق. The summary of it, I will say it if you want to write it. That a person sells oil, cooking oil, and a mouse falls, we've heard this before, in the cooking oil. Now, if the cooking oil is liquid, then the entire oil is spoiled. If the cooking oil is solid, then he takes the mouse out and the surrounding, skims the surrounding area. And then he can sell it. But in case that oil was liquid, then he has to throw it away. Yes? It is not edible anymore. But in the past, it used to have another benefit. What is it?
Candles?
Candles. Lighting the candles. So Imam says, in case the oil was liquid, then when he sells it to people, he has to tell them that this is najis. Why? because this is edible. People assume when they buy the oil to use it for cooking oil. So he has to tell them that this is najis. So they don't use it for food, they use it for what? For lighting. Because he has the control. And he must tell them, and they listen to the shopkeeper. Whatever he says, they take it. They take it from him. This is a madrak used for this maxim. Or someone borrowed the dress. They used to do this in the past. In the past, people were not fully covered. So at the time of the prayers, some people, they share the dress. They share. He does his prayers, then he gives this dress to someone. The dress is clean, they put it, let's say, in the mosque. Even now, in some villages, they put the trousers. They hang them. So people come from outside. He takes off his trouser, he wears this. So some people share this. 5 people wear it, 10 people, 20 people. So someone took the dress of someone else and he did the prayers with it. But then the owner of the dress came to him. He said, unfortunately, I messed up with this dress last night. I was with my wife and we did something and the dress was, contaminated. So in that case, the prayers has to be repeated because this is the owner. He's the yad. And you have to listening. So he has to redo his prayers.
Is that guy obligated to say it or not obligated to say it?
The man has no obligation.
To say.
The owner has no obligation to say. It's not wajib on him. Meaning, if he didn't tell him, there is nothing on him. No responsibility on him. Here's the problem. He took my dress, he prayed with it, here's the problem. Good luck for you. Why should I go and tell him?
So tell him if you don't like him.
Huh?
Tell him if you don't like him.
Yeah, tell him if you don't like him. Ahsan. Now, there is one exception to this maxim. Beautiful exception. The maxim says, accept the testimony of the one who's in charge, the one who's in control, the owner, unless in one case. In one case, you cannot accept him unless he is only trustworthy. Didn't we say this applies to the trustworthy and non-trustworthy, to Muslim and non-Muslim? In that case, unless he's a trustworthy, you may accept. What is that? Can you guess?
Adultery?
Zina?
No.
Murder?
No. If I stay with you from now until next Tuesday, you are not going to guess. What that example is. In the past, nowadays we go to the supermarket. In the past, people used to bring the grape, they squeeze it, and then they make wine out of that grape. Homemade wine. There is a special process for that. I'm not an expert. But what we read from the books is that they boil it. They boil the grape juice. They boil it, and once they boil it, it becomes muskir, intoxicating. And once it becomes muskir, automatically it becomes what?
Haram, yeah.
No, I know haram. Najis. Immediately najis. Because it becomes intoxicating. So how they make it drinkable? 2/3 of that juice has to evaporate. Once 2/3 of it evaporates, 1/3 remains, it becomes non-toxicant and it becomes halal and tahir, and they drink it. So now we come across a pot and we know this has been boiled. But how much it has boiled, how much has left, we don't know. We don't know. Should I drink it? Now this example does not apply. But in the past, this was a daily encounter.
Okay, 2/3 has to be boiled before it becomes...
Tahir. Yeah, before it becomes okay. So I don't know. Here, the owner of this pot or the house should tell me, and only if he's trustworthy, I can take his word for it. If he's not trustworthy, I can't. I cannot drink that. But if he's trustworthy and he says 2/3 of this has gone, then I would use that, the rest.
Question.
Bali, now. Yes.
Some of the foods that, Italians, for instance, make, they add some wine in it and then cook it.
They cook it, but still the flavor of that. Why do they put wine? For the flavor. So you have to tell them before they cook the food, as I do if I sometimes go to a restaurant to have fish, I tell them no wine, please, right from the beginning. Once I enter the restaurant, I tell them so they know. No wine, because even if it evaporates, even if it is little, it's going to get mixed with the food for the taste, for the flavor. So it becomes najis. So you have to tell them right away that please, no alcohol, and they understand. They right away understand what you mean. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.